Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Exploring DC, where we take a piece of DC and explore it with you. I am your host, Josh, and with me today is my one co-host, Jalen Singleton. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to talk about this movie and two other things that we have on the schedule today, which I'm also very, very, very excited to talk about.
Now, listeners, I know your first question is, did Jackson Wells finally get kicked off the podcast? And unfortunately, due to legal issues, we cannot sever ties yet. He is
Too much
just
paperwork.
busy.
Too much.
He's just
Too much
busy with
paperwork.
look, he started school back up. We're graduated, so it didn't work out this week. But Jalen, we haven't done this, me and you, since we did it one time,
Steel.
with week 5, and now it's week like 26 or 7.
So crazy. That is
So it's
still
been a
wild,
minute.
bro. It has been a minute, but that Steel episode was really fun. Wait, what
I
we didn't do another episode together? It was just Steel.
Yeah, just the two of us. Yeah, it was only the steel one. So
Wow. Okay.
it's been a minute, man. But I'm
All
I'm
right
happy that
then.
we're running it back. We're gonna get a full Jalen perspective this episode.
Yes, 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 we will. The full comic perspective, the full ramble.
Yeah.
I'm excited, man.
And what movie did you pick this week, man? Because I told you to pick
So
an animated movie.
yeah, so this week we did watch, and we are about to review and talk about Batman: Assault on Arkham, which came out in 2014.
Yes,
Right?
yes. Description here: Batman works desperately to find a bomb planted by the Joker. That's not accurate. By the Riddler, while Amanda Waller sends her newly formed Suicide Squad to break into Arkham Asylum and recover vital information stolen by the Riddler. No, the Joker did plant the bomb. I was
Yeah.
mixing them up. Okay,
Hmm.
okay, that's right. But essentially, the movie is Batman is looking for the Joker's bomb. The Riddler's information on Task Force X, and so Waller sends in the Suicide Squad to kill them. The interesting thing here, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is that this is part of the Arkham universe, which is the video game series that is very, very popular.
Oh
But
yeah.
a few superlatives first. Directed by Ethan Spalding and Jay Oliva. These guys have quite a track record with DC. Ethan Spalding did a few of these animated movies. He did Son of Batman, Throne of
Okay.
Atlantis, and he did the Freedom Fighters, The Ray, which I don't know if you've ever seen. That's a CW like
Dude,
Arrowverse
yo,
tie-in.
I haven't heard of that in a long. You just brought back
I know
memories, dude.
that is a
Oh,
very obscure thing that I know Jackson would
yeah.
not know,
No,
but
I
I know
watched
you
it.
know, man, my
I
fellow Arrowverse guy.
watched it one time after Crisis on Earth X. That whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. I know they released the Freedom Fighters, the Race special or miniseries or whatever it was
Yeah.
called or whatever it was. And I remember like, dude, whoa, you just like sent me like way back. That's crazy.
Well, it was weird because it was part of the CW's like random, not their normal streaming service, but something called CW Seed. They had like their own offshoot thing, and what they would do is they would release these in like 10-minute chunks, and they would
Mm-hmm.
call it a show, and then later on they just release it and call it what it is, which was a movie the whole time. They did it
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
the Freedom Fighters one, the Vixen one, and the Deathstroke one that they did
Yes,
in
they
like
did.
2020.
They did do a Deathstroke one. Oh my god. Yo, CW Seed, ironically enough, was actually how I got introduced to Smallville for the first time.
That's
Fun
awesome.
facts.
That's
Fun
so
fact.
cool.
Smallville and the really, really weird out there series Birds of Prey. The 13 episode mini series basically that got canceled after one
Hmm.
season. Yo,
Yeah.
CWC, what? Yo, this is like sending me back. Oh my god, I did not expect to go
Yeah,
on a nostalgia trip.
if any listeners know CWC, like you are real ones. That is a weird pull from the past like decade.
Yeah.
So anyway, he also did the Mortal Kombat animated movies, which I don't know if you've seen, but they are like significantly better than the live action movies.
Yeah, one of our guests, Luis, he has constantly been telling me to watch
Mm.
those, and I know that he's a really big
Hmm.
fan of those, but I haven't gotten around to watch it. Have you watched them?
Yes, if you're sick of I haven't seen the Johnny Cage one, but I've seen the first two. If you're sick
Okay.
of the live action ones, because live action ones are very underwhelming, in my opinion. You go watch the animated ones, it gives you like all the gore you want, but also being a really solid story.
Okay.
And
Okay,
it's
yeah.
sick. But I haven't seen the Johnny Cage one, though Joel McHale plays Johnny Cage, and it's really cool. Like, which I think is a lot better casting than Carl Urban.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see Starman, especially after watching The Bear, which I just watched for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen the
He would
first
work
like few
so well in live
episodes.
action too. They should have just carried him over.
Yeah, yeah, they totally should have. And even like in Stargirl, he's so good as Starman in that,
He's so good.
and
Mm-hmm.
even like his level of the type of Starman that he plays, you could totally see that more in line with Johnny Cage than I think Carl Urban. You know?
Oh, absolutely. The other director here, though, Jay Oliva, has been a huge part of the old DC animated movie universe that they did for the past decade before the Tomorrowverse. He directed the Flashpoint Paradox, which we're going to be talking about next month, the Dark Knight Returns movies, Justice League War, Batman vs. Robin, Justice League Dark, a lot of those ones. So he has been very deeply involved, and he's produced a lot of the other ones too. So
Okay.
these are two very very respected people in this animated movie space that were doing this well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, and this is more of like a Jackson thing, but like talking on like the look of this
Hmm.
film. What did you think about how this film
Yeah.
was animated?
Um, it looks not super pretty, I would say.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely better
Yeah.
art styles, but that was also a common thing for a lot of the animated movies of this time. I feel like it was very hit and miss. Like sometimes it looked cool, and then sometimes characters would just look so funky. And we can talk about character
Yeah.
designs later on, but there's some designs in here that I'm like, this is not working for me.
Yeah, the whole like gradient over it looked kind of like ashy. Like it looked like,
Hmm.
you know how people are always like, why is the MCU so gray? Why is it so gray?
Yeah,
This film, it looks
this
like the
movie's
color
gray.
palette they chose was just gray. Like everything looks so grayed out. Like Killer Frost hair, it doesn't look white, it looks gray. Harley Quinn, her
It's
like little
washed out.
red, it looks, yeah, it looks very washed out. And that's kind of how half of the new 52 DC animated movies look, especially Son of Batman. Son of Batman is my least favorite animated uh DC AMU movie.
Hmm.
It just, and the thing is, like, so it's crazy, as a kid I loved it, you know, which we'll get into when we talk about like thoughts and like first introductions and all that other stuff. But like as a kid, I used to love like the look of this thing, and I actually haven't gotten too deep into how animated movies look and how they're animated until, ironically enough, Spider-Verse. You know, Spider-Verse kind of opened my eyes up to like what
Yeah.
animation can do. And then we get recently K-pop Demon Hunters, which I recently watched, and that thing is
Hmm.
like, oh, I get chills just thinking about
So
it.
good.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
Hmm.
But now I'm looking back on these movies that were coming out around this time, which I think this year Justice League War also released at around the same time. It just
Yeah.
doesn't, yeah, it just wasn't pretty to look at. It was not pretty to look at.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No. Um, Written by Keith Carson, who wrote Justice League War, Throne of Atlantis, and then he did some of those Batman Unlimited mech movies as well. So he also had some experience here. And then I'll touch on music real quick. A score by Robert J. Kroll, but no Jackson here. So there's not really much that I don't even think the score is that memorable in this one, if I'm being honest.
No.
Anyway,
It just felt like
mm-mm.
random like rock drops
It's
at the most
it's there.
random times. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
there.
Cast here. Cast here has a lot of cool people. Kevin Conroy comes back as Batman, who he did it for the
Yes.
Arkham games. Love
Hmm.
hearing it.
Absolutely.
So cool. Neil McDonough does Deadshot. He played Damien Dark in Arrow, which is what I know him from, and Legends of Tomorrow.
Neil
And then he does
McDonough.
Deadshot here. And I think, mm-hmm,
What? I actually didn't know. That's actually shocking me. What?
yeah. They recast Deadshot 'cause I believe Chris Cox played him in the Arkham verse,
In
and
the
they and
Arkham
they
games,
recast a lot of
yeah.
characters in this one. Yeah. So I like his
Wow.
voice here. I think it's solid.
Yeah, no, man. He was like one of the best. And I
Uh
genuinely
huh.
could not tell. It was him. He put like extra like swagger or something on his voice that I didn't know.
Hmm.
I didn't know McDonough had it in him, man. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because I know. Has he acted recently in anything? I haven't seen him in a very long time.
he did the Sonic movies, some of them,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well.
but not really much.
Yeah. Not
He's
really
you know
much.
he's kind of not really risen. Another DC vet, Hynden Walsh, does Harley Quinn. She voices Starfire in both of the Teen Titans shows, both the 2006 version and the Go series. So they didn't bring back Arlene Sorkin, who I believe had passed at this point, or Tara Strong, who did Harley Quinn on
So
Arkham City and Arkham
I
Knight.
actually just found out that Arlene passed in I think 2022. So she was still around. I
Oh,
fun
so
fact.
maybe it was more recent.
I actually thought that this was Arlene the entire time. So it
Oh
definitely
yeah,
sent me
no,
for a loop, man.
yeah. Matthew Gray Gubler does the Riddler. Troy Baker does the
Oh,
Joker, replacing Mark Hamill here. But I
okay.
like Troy Baker's
Yeah.
Joker quite a bit. You know,
Yeah.
it's no
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, but it's good.
Yeah. Especially after Arkham
John
Origins.
DiMaggio does, yeah, yeah, of course. John DiMaggio does King Shark. He is big on Futurama. He does Bender, stuff like that. Established voice
Okay.
actor. Cool to see. Um, Gray Ellis does, or Greg Ellis does Captain Boomerang. Jennifer Hale does Killer Frost. Those are two more established voice actors, solid voices. Most interesting one here for me, just based on the time period, Giancarlo Esposito does Black Spider, and
What?
he's so big now.
Wait. Wait. He's Black Spider?
You didn't recognize the voice when you were
I
watching?
didn't know, dude. I
Oh, it's
promise you,
so
I
distinct to
didn't.
me. I instantly was like, no way.
Well, maybe that's also because we'll get into this with the whole character thing, but Black Spider didn't really get anything to do. He was
I
kind
know
of
this
like
was like,
a a body, you know?
yeah. So he's arguably the biggest voice actor in the Suicide Squad, and he's
Oh
maybe
yeah.
the least significant character besides KGB's getting killed instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, for a fact. Wow. Okay.
Hmm.
See,
And
man,
then we had a few returning. Yeah.
this is the great side of exploring DC, man. Finding stuff out like this, like Neil McDonough as Deadshot,
Hmm.
Giancarlo
Got you, bro.
Esposito as Black Spider, man. This is why our viewers should keep tuning in to learn little facts like this, man.
Yeah. And then I was curious because they recast so many people, like who they brought back from the Arkham universe besides Kevin Conroy. They brought back three others. They brought back Martin Jarvis does Alfred's voice again. He did Alfred throughout the entire Arkham verse,
Okay.
and he's only in like one scene anyway, but that's cool. Nolan North does the Penguin, which I thought was interesting because the Penguin's also only in one scene, and Nolan North is a decently big voice actor,
Yeah, so
so it's cool to see him brought back.
I think for most of the cast that they did bring back, mainly was from Origins. Because when I was doing research, which I'm sure you'll also talk about, this takes place in timeline between Origins and Asylum. So I think they were trying to
Yes,
get. I now I also don't
they're
know. I
trying
do
to. Yeah,
know
yeah.
that Nolan North played Penguin in Origins. I don't know if he played him in Asylum City and Night. Do you know that?
Oh, that's a good question. I would have to look. I think he did though,
You think he did? Okay,
because
okay. Because
I looked up Arkham City's I looked at Arkham City's voice cast, and I found Nolan North.
okay,
Um,
okay, yeah, because I know the Origins. It's just always been like a point of conflict amongst like Arkham fans of like if Origins is like truly canon, you know, or if if everybody just starts at Asylum, you know, because Origins is like that ugly, you know, stepsister in the bunch where it's like it came out at a weird
yep,
time between
yeah.
City and Night, and it was made by a completely different team than Asylum City and Night than the
Hmm.
trilogy is. So people have always been like, you know, is Origins, you know, is
Does
Origins
it
the
actually
same?
count?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like
Yeah,
Arkham Origins Blackgate, the DS game that came out that was like
yeah,
solely about this about Batman going up against the Suicide Squad in Blackgate. It was interesting for sure.
yeah. And then the last one here, CCH Pounder, comes back as Waller, who was also in
Yep.
Origins, and I think
Hmm.
she's a pretty solid Waller.
Yeah, she was
I do like
actually I think
her
in the
portrayal.
DCAU. That is the
Yeah,
Amanda Waller in the
she
DCAU.
was.
She
Hmm.
was. She was.
Yeah, I
Yes.
like
Yes.
her
Yes. Yes.
voice a
Yes.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A little bit of development info here. 2009, Arkham Asylum comes out. Kicks off this whole thing. And while
Hmm.
they're developing Origins, WB approached Keith Carson to write a Suicide Squad Arkhamverse film to tie into Origins. That was the whole goal. And like you said, it takes place after Origins, but 2 years before Asylum, so it's supposed to bridge that gap and like really tie things together.
Hmm.
But as we'll talk about later, they put out a recent game in the Arkhamverse, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, that kind of wipes this one off the map,
Yeah.
essentially.
Oh yeah.
But let me first get into, you grew up with this one. I've never
Mhm.
seen it. So we're gonna have two different perspectives here.
Okay.
When did like what was your history with this one? Did you like know the whole time it was an Arkham movie?
Yeah, so I when I was a kid, I had saw it on well, I guess a little backstory. I used to collect DVDs religiously. And
Mm-hmm.
one day I was, me and mom were in Walmart and I was searching for like a random Batman movie because I was like, I had no way of keeping up with what was coming out, what wasn't. So I would like check our local Walmart and I would like always be like, okay, is this a Batman movie that I haven't seen or is this a Batman movie that I have seen? And I saw this on the rack. So I saw like Batman there and I saw the members of the Suicide Squad, under him on the little cover, which I must say the art for this is really cool, I think personally.
Yeah.
I saw it, I took it and I watched it and it was, I remember absolutely being mind blown, because at the
Mm-hmm.
time I was 11 years old and it felt like way more mature than what I was expecting, or what I was used to at the time because I had grown up on DCAU. So part of my like
Yeah.
little brain was like, okay, is this DCAU canon? Is this just like a one off? Like what is this tied to? It wasn't until about 3 years later in about 2017 that I was watching like a deep dive on all of the DC animated movies up until that point, that I found out that it was Arkham verse, and I remember like, man, I was like, wait, certain things make sense now, like the voice cast, the character designs,
Yeah. Yeah.
some of the things that they reference happened in Origins, like for instance, like the whole truck stuff that Penguin is really
Mm-hmm.
mad at Harley for, that happened in Origins. The whole some Riddler references happen in Origins, so
Deadshot
it,
working with Joker.
yeah, Deadshot working with Joker, Origins, or Deadshot being tricked by
Mm-hmm.
Joker, technically Origins. So it all
Right.
made sense, and then ironically enough, when Suicide Squad Kill the Justice came out, I wasn't even thinking of this movie because this movie is easily one of those movies that just kind of like slips, in the back of your mind, and you're thinking back on like DC animated movies, and you're like, oh, that was a thing. Yeah, so I mean, I
Yeah.
I I I remember liking it. This watch though, I had a different opinion, but I want to hear yours first. Like, what was your experience with this since this is your first time watching it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we had a lighter month this month. We did Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and I was like, Jalen, pick an animated movie, just in the catalog. You picked this one. And I was like, okay, the cool that ties into like our Suicide Squad kind of month. I did not realize it was part of the Arkhamverse until you told me. I just always assumed it was part of the DC AMU stuff that they did because it has a similar ish art style
Yeah.
to it. And so I never really watched that universe in proper order. I've seen bits and pieces, but as a kid, I was like, I'm not going to follow it. I was wrapped up in the Arrowverse, and that's it. And so yeah, like it's interesting now to revisit it because you'd think that they would have done maybe more Arkham movies than just the one. But it's
Yeah.
cool to see it as just like this really interesting piece of history of DC, especially now that they have this new game that people weren't big on. They kind of changed up everything in the Arkham universe. And uh, let's just dive in here. Let's just first up. This is like the first proper Suicide Squad movie. This came out before the 2016 movie. It's kind
Hmm.
of like a real introduction to the characters for a lot of people, I would imagine, at least like in this team format. How do
Mhm.
you feel like it stacks up to those? How do you feel like they portray the team here? Because even though it is a Batman Arkham in title, it is way more of a Suicide Squad story and movie.
Yeah, I mean that was actually the point that I was gonna bring up next. Is that like,
Hmm.
does it feel to you like this? Well, I mean, I'm assuming you're familiar with the Arkham games. Like you've played through them, you've maybe 100%ed them, or gotten a good way through them, beat the story at the very
I've
least.
played through I've played through Arkham City. That's my big
Okay.
reveal.
Okay. So like, does it feel to you
That's the only
like
one,
this
dude.
is that's the wait? You haven't played Asylum or Night or Origins?
Bits and pieces, but no. I don't think I've touched Asylum.
Oh
I
my
want to
God,
do
Josh.
them for the pod at some point. I want to
Yes,
cover
yes,
them.
we
Give me an
gotta, we
excuse to play them.
gotta, yeah, we gotta do them for the pod, man. Oh man, that's a cultural experience playing them all together, like playing Origins first and then going into your trilogy. It's an incredible experience.
Yeah.
But does it feel like this movie, this story, does it low key feel like this is a DLC story, like something that you would play, sit
Like
down
it
for
would be a
about an
DLC
hour and a
mission.
half? Yeah, yeah, like you would play as one of these characters or two of these characters or whatever, and this is like something you would sit down for an hour to 3 hours and just play all the way through and then just be done.
Hmm.
Doesn't it feel like that a little bit to you, or no?
It kind of feels like it could really work in that format, and I imagine the playable characters would only be like Deadshot or Harley Quinn. Like I
For
don't
sure.
imagine they'd let you play as Killer Frost or King Shark or anything like that.
Yeah. No, cuz cuz I
That would be really cool to see.
yeah, and I low key feel like that was what Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was trying to do, is like give
Hmm.
one, expand the Arkham verse out, but expand it out in a place that is familiar with the Suicide Squad, a team that is popular, kind of like the Guardians, which I have never agreed that with DC pushing this team, like how Marvel pushed the Guardians. Marvel did it successfully. DC has
Yeah.
been doing a really weird job at pushing this team, down people's
Hmm.
throats. The only time that's worked is the Suicide Squad, ironically, James Gunn, but it,
Yeah.
it, it, it
Yeah.
part of it actually worked for me. Part of it didn't. The parts of it that didn't is that I had trouble connecting with the story as much, because it did feel like it felt so much like a one-off. It felt so much like, and I know you haven't played this, but I'm gonna reference something. There in Arkham Knight, there is a
Hmm.
DLC pack where you play as Nightwing, and Nightwing is
Yeah.
one of my favorite DC. I believe I've said it before on the pod, but it's Green Lantern, Nightwing, and every other DC character. Nightwing is my second
Right.
favorite DC character. That pack, dude, is like an hour. You sit down, you play for an hour, and you're done. I remember
Hmm.
the first time that I played through it, I was like so excited. I was like, okay, this is the first time that we're leading with Dick Grayson, get to fully play as him on multiple missions, free roam and all this other stuff, right? And I didn't get connected with the story because the story itself, if you play it through just story, not free roaming around, is 26
Hmm.
minutes. That's kind of how it felt with this film, is that like, yeah, I really loved what they did with Deadshot. I love what they did with Harley and Joker, and Batman was a really 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 big highlight for me. But what they did with like Killer
Yeah.
Frost and King Shark and Black Spider, it just felt a little like, I felt like you could have expanded this movie out maybe 5 to 10 minutes longer, is what I'll say.
I get that. I think I'd counter argue a little bit just because I'm kind of used to these
Mm-hmm.
animated movies and these short run times. I know how it goes. I actually appreciated that they just were like, here's the setup. Like they do the quick flashback that 2016 Suicide Squad did, but I think better where they like, this person is Killer Frost. Floyd Lawton is Deadshot, and it's like you get a little bit of them, and then what I liked about it is sometimes the appeal of the Suicide Squad to me is that they're expendable and that you
Mm-hmm.
never know what's going to happen, and that's what I felt like with this one. I liked how people were slowly dying off very fast to the point where
Yeah,
it's pretty much just dead shot by the end of the movie.
I get
I
that.
really appreciated that aspect of it. But
Is
I
there?
get what you're saying. You'd want to see more character depth on an individual level.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, just like get me like connected to them a tiny bit more before you kill them off. Like that is the part
Yeah.
that worked for me, is not knowing for sure who was gonna die. Like the only person that I knew for sure going in that died was KG Beast, just because I know his like everyone got a really cool intro. And his intro was getting arrested. That was legitimately his intro. So
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
I instantly knew he was like our Slipknot, our just body for a second killed just to show what the bomb can do. But I
I love
I
that
I
trend. I think they always should do that,
yeah,
where they
no,
like
no,
just bring in someone random to just kill them.
for for a fact that is the whole appeal of the Suicide Squad, is that anyone can go
Mm,
at any point in time, connected to them or not. But I think I
yeah.
did just want to know a little bit more about, like, because like especially Killer Frost and King Shark, they seem like they had a little bit more to them that I would have liked to know a little bit more of before
Hmm.
you just kill off King Shark and all this other stuff. I will say this movie is brutal with like the kills and
Oh, it
especially
is.
like Killer Sharks or King Shark's intro, where it's just like he has bodies hanging up in this motel room and he's just bathing in a pool of blood. That's like, yeah, I remember as a kid that junk terrified me, bro. It was crazy. But I do you feel
I
like there was any death that like shocked you, like for a fact that you just completely did not see?
I thought King Shark was coming back. I was
Really?
shocked that because of what they were setting up with him and Frost, and especially because he's like a creature, I guess. I was surprised that he died. I knew Black Spider was cooked, but when he didn't get um put the electrodes on for everyone else, I'm like, that's weird. But I
Yeah.
guess it makes sense if it was Batman the whole time, right? But I was like, Black Spider would want to also be cured. So I'm like, he's gonna die. I figured KGB's just based on like, the setup of him. King Shark, I was like, damn. I wonder
Yeah.
why it didn't. Maybe just because he has a different human or like creature body that didn't work. But I was very shocked by that one, which I kind of liked. It was an
Yeah.
interesting choice.
Yeah. I low key felt a little bad for Frost at that point in time. Like I was like, man, they seemed like they had something good
I
going
did.
on. And just to kill him off. But
Yeah,
I'm pretty
it
sure it
was
was because his
cool.
his hide was like so thick that like the electrodes couldn't
Yeah,
fully integrate into his system and, deactivate the bomb. But I really like that choice. Also, I'm sure we're gonna touch on it, but real quick, did the twist get you?
with Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
Did not
did.
know that.
Okay.
I was very surprised. I just thought he was just gonna explode.
Yeah,
It was cool.
yeah,
That's the thing, man. I appreciated that this movie was very tight. Like it there's no really weird subplots that I felt like were wasting time. I didn't feel like I had to really know a lot of Arkham lore. I feel like there's references that are fun, but it's not dependent on it. It was a really solid little mission movie. And that's something that the 2016 movie, the problem is that mission sucks and the characters are written bad. And that's what I liked about the 2021 movie is that it's also like, here's your mission and here are the basics, here's the team. I think that's when the Suicide Squad is the best, when it's like very to the point. Like you don't need to really establish why Amanda Waller is having them do these things. You can find that out on the mission, which is what they do in both the James Gunn one and this one.
yeah.
Like I don't need a big setup. That was the problem with the 2016 one, is that they set up the whole Enchantress thing like way too heavily to the point where you actually get to the mission, it sucks.
Oh yeah.
I like that in both of these ones, it's just like, hey, we don't give a fuck about you. We're just sending you out to do this thing.
Yeah, yeah, no. For the Suicide Squad
It's
to
cool.
work, it
That's what I
has
like
to
about it.
have it has to have a good mission. Like for the Suicide Squad to truly work, the mission has to be on point, because if not, then you're just not it's you're not gonna want to follow these guys.
And so you didn't connect to this mission, is what you told me, right? As much?
Partly,
You felt like it was kind
partly.
of underwhelming?
A tiny bit, a tiny bit.
Okay.
One of like kind
Because
of like I
all.
said earlier, like one of my highlights of the film was Batman, and it was the way that he was like stalking them in a way, and
Yes.
like truly like they thought they were
Oh, it's
playing
so cool.
him and like outsmarting him and like trying to avoid him. Meanwhile, bro had them like down packed, from the jump,
Hmm.
just because he is Batman, is that guy, you know?
Oh, and it's the Arkham Batman, so he's the goat already. And they don't
Yeah.
like lessen his character or water his character down. He is still a complete and awesome interpretation of Batman.
For a fact, man. Like that opening moment where like the lights go out and he's like, I forget what he says, but his first line, you
Mm-hmm.
hear that Kevin Conroy rasp, and he says one of the coldest bars, and he just takes out everybody in Arkham style, one by one, and then like there's this one cop that's holding on like a little too
Mm-hmm.
long, and like he's trying to like cut him over and over and over, and like Batman is just hitting these crazy combos
Yeah.
on him. I was like, oh, this is feeling like the fight scene itch right here. That Arkham combat itch that I have.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I even the Riddler thing, like I like the twist. I think that makes it work because the first setup is just that like, hey, you need to go kill the Riddler in Arkham. It's like okay, if Amanda Waller wants it done, but when you find out that he can defuse the bombs and that he has information that she needs, like that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That works for me, especially
Yeah.
for a shorter thing like this. So I mean maybe it's just because it's my first time watching it. I thought it was like it's still like an animated movie in one of these ones in the sense that like there's not enough depth to really call it one of the greats, and it's nowhere near the Suicide Squad. But for what it is, I was like, this is I could watch this again. This is really fun.
Yeah. Is there anything that didn't work for you, character wise, story wise, anything specific?
Um, I'm never big on Deadshot and Harley Quinn having a little thing. I guess I get it, but like I don't know. It's never like a pairing that has a lot of chemistry, and that continues here. I just feel like it was kind of like let's throw in a fun like sex scene thing, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's fine. I
Yeah.
did like the Joker's involvement in this. I thought he was the right amount of present, where he wasn't overtaking everything, but he's definitely like, as he is in the Arkhamverse, like the big threat. And
Mm-hmm.
so, no, honestly, man, I besides like some of the designs, I do not like King Shark's design at all. I think it's
Okay.
hideous.
Yeah.
I think it's really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not great.
You
I
know?
think.
Do you like the jaw? I think the jaw thing's stupid, man.
No, it's stupid. It legitimately takes away the whole shark aspect because like he's supposed to be a physical shark, not a.
He just looks
I
like
don't
a
even.
dude.
Yeah, he legitimately just looks like a dude with really weird skin, a fin, and has the little metal chomper thingy, which I never liked. Like I said, one of the coolest intros, probably the coolest intro out of all of them because it's the most terrifying. But when it comes, I mean, I will say Harley's is pretty terrifying too. Like her biting that person's ear off and then just the blood dripping from her mouth. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. The characters have some weird intros, but um, I think the one weird part that got me was like in the very beginning when the SWAT team has like the night vision on and you see Batman, but it just looks like a person took a sticker and posted Batman there, and like the background didn't mesh well. It looked a little weird to me, and that was the only time where I was like, okay, the
Yeah,
animation feels a little off, the character design feels a little off, but everything else for me worked.
it's a little wonky. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, but I
Cool.
will say like
Yeah, yeah.
did
Oh, one other thing is that,
mm,
especially because it's Giancarlo.
so what?
No, sorry. I was gonna say, especially because it's Giancarlo. Did not appreciate Black Spider being like. I think we're a little off. Um, Giancarlo Black Spider. I wanted more depth from him.
Yeah.
I felt like he was very lacking, like you said.
Yeah, yeah, that is something that because did it feel to you at parts
So
like he was a like he was a plant almost, kind of like Peacemaker was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They could have done that with him instead of Killer Frost. That wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I think using Black Spider as a plant would have worked so much better for
Mm,
that for this type of story, especially like when you saw him in the plane and he was already broken out long before they officially dropped them. I think it would have made him a little bit more interesting if he was utilized in some way of like benefit to Waller. Maybe like the mission wasn't originally to kill the Riddler or to kill whatever, but maybe that was Black Spider's mission. But then she kind of tried to use that for Killer Frost a little bit,
right.
which did also throw me for a loop. So that was actually a good bit of like redirection because I originally was always thinking it was going to be Black Spider, and that maybe would have been a little predictable, because
Hmm.
those type of characters that are like in the morally gray of like, oh my god, no, I kill villains, I don't work with them. Those type of characters are always normally the ones that are plants, not the
Yeah.
characters that are sadistic serial killers. So I think that worked really well for me.
Yeah, I liked it. I just was like, retroactively, when you have Giancarlo and you don't use him enough, it's lame. So, yeah, do you have any other closing thoughts, really? I actually have a few miscellaneous things.
In comparison to, I guess I have one more question. In comparison to Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, which do you feel like told? I think it's an easy answer, but which do you feel like told the better
Yeah.
Suicide Squad in this universe? Better Suicide Squad
No,
story in this universe.
that's a good thing to talk about. I didn't play that one. I was going to play it, but because of the online component, I was like, I'll wait. And so eventually I want to get to it after I play through the Arkham ones again or for the first time. I Yeah, it does not look very good. And so I'm kind of upset that they made a lot of the choices they did in that game based on what I was
Yeah,
told.
yeah, like the killing random members of the Justice League. I did see
Mm-hmm.
some people saying that the way that Batman hunted the squad down in this film is exactly how they should have been hunted down in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It maybe shouldn't have been a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League going up against Brainiac, but maybe it should have been a Suicide Squad hunts the Batman or something like that, where it's like you're going up against the biggest threat to all of these characters, which is the Batman.
I think the difference is that this one feels like in line with the Arkham stuff tonally and like
Mm-hmm.
creatively, where that game feels like the mess of that era of the DCEU carried over into video game form.
Cool. I've actually never heard someone put that, you like kind of reference it like that before, because it does feel like the game gets caught
Right?
up in the whole DCEU influx, weird rebranding
Of just
that it had.
weird shit, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Do you know how like the comics get MCUified a lot of the time?
Mm-hmm. I
It
sure
feels
do.
like that. It feels like the Arkhamverse got DC like synergy.
DCEUified, DC synergy, DCEUified.
Well, because think of it was planned for 2022, which is right after the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker and all that. So I think it was just meant to tie into that era of things. Then it got delayed a bunch, and all the problems with the online.
Yeah.
We could do a whole episode on that one day, and it would be very, very interesting to talk about. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just makes me retroactively sad, even though I'm not as connected to the Arkham stuff as you. That this now has to be like completely retconned for some AAA cash grab.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that is the truth. Which is there a world where you feel like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was Zaslav's way of being like, this is how the Justice League doesn't exist anymore in our universe? Originally,
I don't
before they
even
tried
think
to
it.
tie it in.
No, I don't think it's Zaslav related at all. I think it's just the WB Games management, whoever was leading at the time, was making poor decisions, and one of those poor decisions was like, let's do completely online and try to cash in on people's love for the Arkham stuff.
Yeah, and it
And they
fails
they cooked
miserably.
rock steady like that, and it failed miserably.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's less of a Zaslav thing because I don't think he was really in charge of that. It was more of just the old WB game structure, which we'll talk about later in a little bit. But I have three little things I wanted to mention. First, animated Victor Zaz. I found that on the trivia. Just cool because I like Victor Zaz. So
Okay.
interesting that it took this long, considering there's a lot of Batman animated shows.
I actually don't. I think that Victor Zaz was one of those characters that people were really scared to touch on just because of
He's
how
dark, man.
dark. Yeah, if I say just because of how dark he. Because I do know when we get to the Batman the animated series portion, which I can talk about that all day. I love that
Yeah,
universe. But Dwayne McDuffie and Bruce Timm, they wanted to do Zaz so many times, but Warner Brothers kept telling them no because Zaz was
it
entirely too dark
sucks.
for kids. Yeah, it's crazy. So I think a lot of people were scared to touch Zaz until very recently, like
Hmm.
Gotham and this movie and the DCAMU and Birds of Prey. Finally got some
Hmm.
Zaz
All
love.
that stuff, right? Hmm. I would love to see it. Shout out Anthony Carrigan,
Oh
Zaz.
yeah,
I know he's doing Metamorpho now, but oh my god.
yeah.
Anyway, they're also in Harley Quinn's intro. She's watching the Looney Tunes show, the new Looney Tunes or whatever it's called.
Hmm.
That show fucking rocks.
It does. It does.
If you've ever seen it,
I used to love it,
I
dude.
loved seeing that. That was the same era when this movie was coming out, so it's just brand synergy. But I don't even blame her for watching that shit. I want to rewatch that. That show rocks. It's
It
so
did.
funny.
It did. It did make me want to rewatch it. Matter of fact, after we get off the pod, I might go and rewatch that and like Steven Universe. Do like a double
Oh my
animated,
god.
show watching
There you go.
feature.
There you go.
That's like a perfect night right
Yeah.
there.
Last thing here. Not good with the Bechdel test in the sense that Harley Quinn and Killer Frost never exchanged dialogue in this.
I've never wait. I've never noticed that. Oh
Yeah.
man. Does Harley Quinn exchange dialogue with anybody besides Deadshot and Captain Boomerang?
Maybe King Shark, but I don't think Black Spider either, right? There's not a
Interesting.
lot of like intermingling of the squad. Like they're going.
Yeah, they're straight to business. But
They don't
ironically
give it.
enough, Harley
They don't
Harley
give a
doesn't
shit about
talk.
each other, man.
Harley doesn't talk to the only other woman and the only black man on the team.
Hmm.
It's wild.
Pretty much, man. Anyway, closing thoughts here. Let me hit you. What do you got?
I
Just
think
overall.
Batman Assault on Arkham is a really good look at this part of the Arkhamverse, which I think you'll get a better
Hmm.
appreciation for it when we go through the games for the pod. When you look at, especially
Okay.
when you go from Origins to Asylum, maybe watch
Hmm.
this movie again once we go through that series, and then see if you get a bigger appreciation for it. But I really
I
do
will.
feel
I will.
like this movie is a good first step into that world.
Yeah.
That Suicide Squad Killer Justice League just completely fumbled. But this is a good Suicide Squad story, just nonetheless. Aside from the Arkham stuff.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I liked it. I had a good time. I'm glad you picked it. It was a really fun little little story to watch and a good closing of our little August Suicide Squad month. I thought it was cool to experience this because I had never before.
Yeah,
So I'm grateful that we picked this one. It
for
was
sure.
cool. Thumbs up for me, man.
Thumbs up for me, man.
Cool, cool, cool. We have a couple things. Let's just start. I don't know how long we'll talk about it, but we got to talk about it each week. I think. Let's talk about Peacemaker season
Yes.
2. We'll save. a lot for the full episode, I guess, but we need to give our general impressions as we're watching it, I imagine. Season
Mhm.
2, Episode 1, The Ties That Grind, directed by James Gunn. Essentially, this episode brings us back, shows us where each of the team members are a couple years after, I think a couple years, timeline wise. It's kind of murky, but it's fine.
Yeah.
After this season 1 ending, we get some cool retcons, which we can talk about in a second, of how it ties in, and then we get the setup for the storyline, which is Peacemaker discovering this alternate dimension in his pocket dimension thing. Uh, where are you at with this one?
I'm actually in a good place with this one. The show actually
Yeah.
got me. It got me. I mean, I am a fan of Peacemaker season one, but on our season one episode, I did say I had issues with a lot of stuff. Some of the humor, a good amount of the humor
Mm-hmm.
didn't really work for me. Certain characters I wish were utilized a little bit more. But this so far, this was an insane kickoff, dude. I mean, getting back in the only two characters that I felt like I wish I wanted more from was Adebayo and Vigilante. But
I agree.
those two, I'm sure we'll get more of in the. So I'm not really too worried about it. But John Cena as Peacemaker is one of the most. I am prepared to say when his time as Peacemaker is said and done after this season maybe or later on in the DCU that he is one of the best comic book castings that we've gotten. Like he's up there with Tom Hiddleston, RDJ, Amon Villani, uh, Colin Farrell. I'm even putting up there, man, as Penguin. He is he is gonna be up there in that upper echelon, especially because he right now is making Peacemaker bigger. Peacemaker was literally nothing before John Cena stepped into that role, and now Peacemaker is
Yeah.
everywhere.
Peacemaker is John Cena. Yeah,
Yeah, Peacemaker is John
absolutely.
Cena.
I did you listen to the Peacemaker podcast for this new episode that
I have
James Gunn
not.
put out?
I have not.
I listened to it. Very good, by the way. If you guys want to listen to another podcast, it's not ours, which friendly competition. That it's way bigger than ours. But whatever. Um. Anyway, James Gunn mentioned in it that this season you can tell that his performance is a lot better because he had a lot more opportunities to act compared to when he was doing Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, which he'd only really done like Bumblebee and like Trainwreck, I think, and some stuff like
Mhm.
that. So you can tell he's had a lot more Hollywood experience. Obviously, he did Fast and Furious and some of those other big franchises, but he's been around the block a lot more, and I think there's a lot more nuance even in this first episode. Like you see him meeting his father and his brother, and there's like little. You can tell that he's really good at portraying the mental state he's at
Yeah.
subtly, and you can tell how much Chris has grown, and I love that. I love the opening of this episode. So
Yeah. Oh my god, dude, the opening of this episode was the only thing that I think didn't really work for me was the Justice Gang. My god, is Maxwell Lord
you didn't like
miscast?
that?
I
Oh,
I
okay, okay,
I liked it somewhat. I liked it somewhat. I like that they suck. Like I like that they are not good people. Even though I do feel like they would have a little bit more compassion after Superman, like a tiny bit more, just because you
yeah,
saw like the movie physically took time to show each hero being affected by hope, by that country's hope
yeah,
for
yeah,
superheroes. So I would think they would have been a little bit more sparing, but then I remember that it is mainly Maxwell, Guy Gardner is, a tool either way, and
mm,
Maxwell Lord was mainly doing the one talking about, White Rabbit and Peacemaker. So, but man, dude,
mm,
it is unfortunate to say, but I do think that Maxwell Lord is miscast. I
yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that at all.
Here's the thing: I'm not a big fan of it because I don't like. Also, Sean Gunn's tied to so many other characters that I appreciate more. Like I love his
Hmm.
GI Robot stuff. or even like Kraglin in the MCU, I feel like works a lot better for his acting personality. James Gunn said that he's not doing the Maxwell Lord that people most commonly associate with like the New 52, where he's like basically like a Lex Luthor type,
Hmm.
evil billionaire thing. He's doing more of just like a morally gray rich guy that's trying to help out, which is how he originally was in some of the older Silver
Yeah.
Age era. So it kind of works in that sense if he's like trying to be still helpful, but just like is an asshole. I just, uh, I agree. I think there could have been someone with a little more bravado than Sean Gunn. To
Yeah,
he doesn't have the screen presence that I would want.
that's what it is. That is exactly what it is because in the comics, in the Maxwell Lord in the 80s was
Hmm.
exactly like how Sean Gunn is playing him, right? The only thing
Yeah.
is, the only thing is, Maxwell Lord always had a presence. Whenever he walked into a room, you knew he was in the
Hmm.
room. And I
Yeah.
don't know if Sean Gunn has that, especially because I don't see Sean, and this is going to be so unfortunate as a filmmaker myself. I hate saying I don't see people as leading men and leading women and all that other stuff. I haven't seen Sean Gunn in that position to where he is able to lead. And granted, Maxwell Lord is not the lead of anything right now, but I think the
Right.
character himself requires that, like that characterization where it's like
Hmm.
if he was to lead a checkmate project or whatever, which is a comic book team, a comic book organization, kind of like Argus, that Maxwell Lord does
Yeah.
lead. If say you did a checkmate series and Maxwell Lord was like your lead of it, he would need to have that screen presence. And also, I think unfortunately, we're still kind of fresh on Papacito Pedro. You know, his performance as Maxwell Lord it was
Yeah.
so good in a terrible movie that it's like you're
Yeah.
comparing Sean Gunn to Pedro Pascal. That's just not gonna, that's just not
That's
gonna
the
stand
thing,
up.
man. I did not love that movie at all, and I even think like there's tweaks I would do to Maxwell. Like it's an interesting version, but at least Pedro has like the
Yeah.
bravado and the screen presence. Maxwell Lord should be operating in a similar sphere as like Nick Fury or Amanda Waller, or even Valentina in the modern MCU. But
Hmm.
Sean Gunn is not Sam Jackson. Sean Gunn is not Viola Davis one bit. And Sean Gunn is not even Julie Louis Dreyfus. He is just not there for me yet. This is one scene. We'll see more of him. We'll
Yeah.
see. It can always get better. But I agree. I also think I hated that how much of the scene was in the trailer, especially the first trailer. And
I
so by
do
the
agree
time
with
I get it
that.
here, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I like that he's trying out for the big leagues. I get for Chris, that's a cool plot point. But it was just this would have been a cool surprise. I think they should have kept it a surprise.
Yeah, which I am happy that they kept the revamp of the Justice Gang filling in for the Justice League,
Mm-hmm.
or retconning to the Justice Gang. I did like that. I loved
So
that
did I. I
aspect.
loved that.
Yeah, I absolutely love
Yeah,
that, and I think that was the best possible thing they could have done because the Justice Gang has been established for years. So I love that. I just think this scene shouldn't have been in the trailers, or maybe like
not at all.
yeah, not at all. I mean, it would have been cool if, we were like, "Oh, who's he going to meet?" And then you see White Rabbit walking out and you're like, is he joining a team? Like what team?" And then you see the Justice
Yeah,
Gang and it's like, "Oh, wow." Like I mean,
would have been
we
so
are
cool.
yeah, but I say we're kind of doing work with this DCU already.
And you could have kept it. You could have kept it under wraps because we didn't know they filmed that revamp scene that they did in the previously on. And this scene is all in a building, so it's not like it would have been
Mhm.
outside. No one would have found out. And they were filming in the same area. I'm just like, people were already gonna watch it regardless. Like if you that Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl being in the trailer is not convincing them. They're like, oh, this is really in the DCU. I'm gonna watch it. Like if
Yeah.
James Gunn is like, this is part of the thing, and you see
Yeah.
him show up in Superman, people are gonna watch this show. I just think they handled it weird. I do love the retcon thing a lot. I love
Yeah.
how subtle it was, and it makes it feel a lot better for me instead of
Yeah.
just being like, well, everything's canon except that one scene. I like it now how it's like, oh yeah, see how events take place, but things are a little different.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Even the Green Lantern joke thing that John Cena says in the previous thing on was a bit that they filmed and cut in the DCEU version because WB execs were like, don't talk about Green Lantern or
He
whatever it was.
it
So they
it
they, they cut that.
it feels even more natural than the whole Aquaman messing around with the fish. Because I don't see, I'm gonna be real, I don't see that rumor spreading about Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I just don't. That's
Yeah,
not
it's
that type of
weird.
character, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
it felt like forced, like, oh, let's jump on the Aquaman joke train, like how the comics do. And I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
Jason Momoa's Aquaman has never been that type of guy. Jason Momoa's Aquaman is actually like feared in that universe. So I don't, it is kind of weird. But in this universe, it fits even better because you could totally see Guy Gardner, being a part of that type of
Yeah,
story.
people
People would eat that up
people
because it's
shit
Guy.
on people shit on Guy Gardner constantly in this
Exactly.
universe
So it
because
makes
he's like,
so much more sense. I do love how,
mm-hmm,
at first I was questioning if this was the Terrifics, if this was the Justice Society, if this was the Justice League International. This is, I
mm-hmm,
think it is fair to say that this is our Justice League. This is gonna be when the when the
pretty much,
movie when the movie is officially made. The team may have a few tweaks, like John Stewart might be added. Whatever other superheroes we see from now until that movie might be added, or some heroes might be taken away, like Hawk Girl might be taken away, or whatever. But I think
mm-hmm,
I absolutely love that right now our team is six. Superman, Supergirl, Mister Terrific, Hawk Girl, Guy Gardner, and Metamorpho. You know,
yeah,
I absolutely
I like
love
it a
that.
lot.
Yeah, maybe there's a world where Peacemaker could join at the very end of the season. I don't want that to happen, but maybe there is a
Right,
world because I can totally see James Gunn doing that, where, like, there's another big threat, like maybe this whole multiversal other dimension threat they got going on right now is a thing that
yeah,
Peacemaker solves. And Sean Gunn, his Maxwell Lord comes and he's like, yeah, I mean, we saw that you fixed this. I want to formally apologize. I want you to join the Justice Gang. We tried other
right,
people, they didn't really work out, but you seem good enough, so let's, come join the Justice Gang, whatever.
yeah,
I could
yeah,
totally
and
see that
then
happening.
the last thing I wanted to touch on, I guess that's big, is that they do a big focus on Harcourt, and it seems like she's going to be big in the season.
Scene
Um,
stealer, show stealer, bro.
yeah,
Her performance
you
in
know,
this episode is insane. That bar fight scene is one of the best fight scenes I've seen in a superhero project. It is so
oh, it's
cool.
awesome. And then her little like smirk when she's thrown out, man, it just
Yeah.
rocks. It was really really cool, and I'm excited how they're setting up the relationship with her and Chris, and then the alternate universe bring in. I think it's going to be a really solid version of that romance, better than like the typical version, which would just be like them getting together slowly. I like how they like seemingly had something and then it didn't work,
Hmm.
and maybe it's not going to work out in the main universe. Very very curious, but yeah, I've this. It felt like they didn't miss a beat,
Yeah.
genuinely, in the
Yeah. No.
3 years it took them to film this.
And the last thing that I want to say is that I am very
Mm.
interested as to what 7, 8, and 9. Wait, is it only 8 episodes or is it 9 episodes?
Yeah, it's 6, 7, and 8.
6, 7, and 8. Okay, so I'm very curious to what 6, 7, and 8 are gonna bring
Mm-hmm.
because we already have so many DC references, DCU references, especially because James Gunn did say that this is the project that will show you where we're going, and then after this we go right into Lanterns. So
Yep,
I'm
yep, yep.
interested. Well, which Lanterns, bro? I am like, I need
Mm,
Lanterns to be here now. Like, give me Lanterns. I want to see what Aaron Pierre does.
yeah,
Which, actually, fun fact about that, I was looking at like quotes and stuff that the actors were saying. I
yeah.
saw this one thing where and this was so Guy Gardner. But Nathan Fillion was saying that when he was on the Lantern set, it felt so serious compared to like Peacemaker and Superman sets. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was in there and I was a little like intimidated because like you look over and you see Aaron Pierre like really like locking in on this character and like trying to understand every little
Mm-hmm.
facet of John Stewart. And I'm just over here like goofing off, with a wig and all this stuff. So, bro, I
That's
am
awesome.
when Jon Stewart is gonna probably be my favorite character in the entire DCU by the end of that
Mm.
show. I'm so ready for it. I am so ready for it.
So me too. But my big thing here is just that I'm just Superman rocked. This episode rocked. I'm so hopeful. I'm feeling very, very good.
Yeah,
Also, the intro, the new intro is so cool, and I'm a big
fire
fan of it. And I think I like it. I think the season one intro has so much like nostalgia for it, especially now. But the season two intro is undoubtedly a better production.
for sure,
Like,
for
just it
sure.
is.
It's
They knocked it out of the park. It's
better,
crazy.
better like funny choreography too. You know, and it's so much bigger because you have multiple versions of the same character in that big group. You know, so it was really
Well,
well done.
and
And also,
the song was written for the show, and so it thematically fits with the season. Like, that's awesome.
yeah, they did say that Frank Grillo was the worst dancer. I couldn't tell. Maybe maybe because like they
He's
cover
fine.
him up very very well. I mean, he's fine. He's not as bad as I'm forgetting his name last season. Help me out.
Oh, Robert Patrick.
Yes, Robert Patrick. Yes, yes. He's not as bad as
Yeah,
him.
I love his little like mask reveal moment too in the song.
Yeah,
You could tell it was definitely a stunt double until like the last second, and then they had to
exactly.
switch him out.
For a
So
fact.
cool. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it each upcoming week. I'm sure we'll have like probably less as we're just in the middle of the episodes, but we'll have a big obviously episode on the whole season, and we'll get Jackson's thoughts as well. But yeah, great start. I'm loving it, and definitely tune in. So watch Peacemaker. It's fun. I have the Peacemaker shirt on too. Big
There we
merch.
go. There we
So
go. First drop.
we'll be wearing that. Um, we got a couple news things, and then we'll wrap up for the week. I know we've been running long, good, but we've been gone for a couple. We've been gone for 2 weeks now, so we have some things. Terrence Stamp passed away at 87. He played General Zod in Superman 1, Superman 2,
Okay.
which we covered. Happened like a week ago, but I want to say mad respect. Not, obviously, like, defined Zod for a lot of time
Hmm.
because of how big his presence was cinematically. Even if that villain isn't like one of our favorites or like that interpretation, I still think like legendary actor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Neo before Zod will always be iconic.
oh
You
my
know,
god,
because that
yeah,
was
it's carried
his
over.
yeah, that was his thing. He's the one that started it, and it is the most iconic Zod line ever so far. So mad respect to him.
And you know what? He rocked that V-neck
Oh
suit, the
yeah.
deepest V-neck ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it makes me sad because I we watched the Christopher Reeve doc, so I had to go through that whole story this year with Jackson, and then Gene Hackman tragically passed away in a weird situation, and now Terrence Stamp is just it's very sad, and Margot Kidder's gone as well to see a lot of these original Superman cast members go,
Hmm.
just because it was such a cool moment in time.
Wait, Margot Kidder died?
Is she not? I
I don't
thought she
know.
passed away a while ago.
Did she die? Wait, let me look that up because I didn't know that. If she did die,
Yeah, yes, I believe she did, unless I'm wrong. But
she
anyway,
died. Wait, she died in
my big point.
2018. Oh my god, I'm so
Yeah,
behind. Well,
I
big
told you.
up.
Yeah,
You know, rest in peace to her, man.
recipes. Yeah, so a lot of
Yeah.
them. It's very sad. Now we just have the Helen Slater played Supergirl is really the biggest
Hmm.
one. So Superman passed 600 million worldwide. I think this is the last really big box office Superman update we'll have, but cool to
No,
see.
very cool to see. It
Yeah,
surpassed
it's out
Fantastic
on.
Four, Thunderbolts, and Captain America, which is something that DC has not done ever. It's
Yeah,
never surpassed Marvel in a year.
yeah,
So we are already off to a really good start, and I'm excited to see how Supergirl and Clayface stack up to Spider-Man and Avengers. I'm pretty sure we already know that Spider-Man and Avengers are going to win, but it's still going to be interesting to see because I do feel like Supergirl might surprise some people.
yeah. I'm also curious to see how Peacemaker season 2 performs compared to season 1 because I definitely have seen people watching it, but I don't know if I've heard all of the buzz, just mostly in our spheres. So I'm curious to see if the general public stays with it, especially after that big gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. We'll see. We'll see how things go because I don't think Creature Commandos was the biggest show ever,
No.
but Superman is done considerably well. So it's very cool to see. Um, Greg Fraser is a cinematographer. Jackson would know more about this, I would say, because he's really big on. But you're a film student too. Greg Fraser shot the Batman.
Hmm.
He shot the Dune movies. He's announced that he was shooting the Beatles biopics, which is 4 movies. And
Yeah.
so Josh Brolin was doing promotion for Weapons and says he's not doing Dune 3, which sucks. But people are also worried he's out of the Batman Part 2. Well, not we don't know this for sure, but I feel like this would change the cinematic language very significantly, and that might suck to
Yeah.
see.
Because are they trying to shoot part two this year or next year? Next year,
No,
right?
next spring, next
Oh, next
spring. But if he's
spring.
doing the Beatles
Okay.
things, he's not gonna have time.
Yeah, no, that's it. There's no way. Which I'm gonna be honest, that whole four biopics feels like a little much.
I know it's
Especially because
ridiculous.
it
It's
it
cool,
takes
but it's crazy.
yeah, it takes 3 years to make one movie normally on average. So to make four in
Hmm.
the span of I'm thinking 2 to 3 years,
A year,
that's gonna be that's definitely gonna take a hit on like quality, like for a fact. But I mean, whoever
I think
they
so.
find, I hope they can, you know, match that. You know, maybe pick up a
Hmm.
cinematographer from the Penguin. I mean, I think there's like this weird thing where like there's this weird divide where like TV cinematographers and film cinematographers, they can't mix and match. Penguin had some of the most beautiful cinematography in the universe, and I
Hmm.
think that it matched the Batman cinematic language very well. So pick up one of those cinematographers, and I
Oh,
think they could kill just as much.
there you go. Yeah. So you say don't be worried as much.
No, yeah,
You should
no, for
be
sure.
maybe okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Another interesting thing, building off that, Margot Robbie revealed she was also doing promotion for a movie that the Penguin was the original villain of Birds of Prey and not Black Mask. But Matt Reeves said they had to change it to Black Mask because obviously he was going to use Penguin a couple years later. That's interesting. I think that was the right choice. I'd be curious if Ewan McGregor still would have played Penguin or if that was changed early enough in the development process. Uh, Penguin would have worked as well though in that role. So
Yeah.
just an interesting what if scenario.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. I do think they made the right choice with Black Mask and Zaz. I do think that Penguin would have been interesting, but I think that Ewan McGregor just brought something so like gravitational to Black Mask that made it all worth it, honestly. And like I think it wouldn't have changed people's minds. Like there is that corner of the internet that is like Birds of Prey didn't work because it's all women. There's also that camp
And
that loves Birds of Prey. You know,
that's me. That's
yes,
that's
exactly,
fucking me, man. I love Birds
exactly.
of Prey.
So I
Uh,
think either way, the choice made works the best for the movie, and I think that Black Mask also offered insight into a different corner of Batman villains that
yeah.
we hadn't seen before. So
Hmm. And it's led to the best Penguin adaptation
exactly,
probably ever. So
yeah, for sure, for a
yeah.
fact.
Yeah. Last thing here. I know you're hyped. I'm hyped, bro. TT Games revealed at Gamescom. I had heard rumors about this for years, but they've been gone. TT's been gone ever since Skywalker Saga. I grew up in the Lego games, guys. I grew up in the Lego games. I love them. I still love
Mhm.
them. It's been my first video game ever was Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, which I know everyone pretty much had as a kid. So,
Yeah,
um, but yeah, I love the DC things. DC Villains is one of my favorites. Anyway, I've been hearing rumors of a Lego Batman 4 for years, but I was like, I don't know, man. I believe it when I see it. And it finally got revealed. I was walking in the middle of the street in this city. I stopped with my friend and I was like, we're watching this trailer right now. And I stopped in the middle of the sidewalk and just watched this 2 minute trailer on my phone. And like I hate this is a random tangent. I hate social media trailers where they crop it so it fits like your whole phone screen. I never want to watch a trailer like that.
yeah, the
I hate it,
vertical
dude. I
length.
hate it, especially because reposting trailers now sucks because it's always the vertical. You have to like
Hmm.
hunt down the horizontal. Um, That's so random. Anyway, I watched it vertical. I was that excited. I fucking, I'm so excited. It's called Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. It is using the new Skywalker Saga engine. It is combining elements of all the movies into an original story. So
It's
it's just like,
also it's also combining elements of the comics too.
yeah, and the Arkham stuff.
Yeah,
They
so
confirmed that as well.
it's kind of all coalescing into one, and like I've even seen like they have a whole Red Hood story, or a whole Red Hood mission in the game, but it's like
Hmm.
OG Red Hood. It's like Jack Napier with the whole red hood on and the
Yeah,
suit falling into the vat of acid. I yo, this is actually perfect because if they can do this for a Batman game, that
they
is
could
the
do it
best
for.
way to yeah, they can do it for a Superman game because the comics are infinite. Opening up that realm where you are now, you're combining elements of, the Nolan Batman movies, the 89 movies, the Arkham verse, the, Ben Affleck stuff more than likely. Um yeah, as well as Pattinson, which it seemed like the Pattinson stuff had a big impact because even like the car chase,
Yeah,
and like the jumping off
the
the
main suit is
gargoyle.
Pattinson's suit.
Yeah, exactly. And but while also combining it with like, comic stuff, like popular comic storylines like Under the Red Hood, and maybe they might touch
Hmm.
on like Death in the Family. Also, I found out, I'm sorry I'm rambling here, but I found out there are 7 playable characters only in the game,
Yeah,
which I
which is a big
love.
departure.
That is a
Yeah.
huge departure because normally there's like 300, 100 to 300.
I heard though that that is just for the story, and that in once you complete the story, you're gonna have all access to a lot of regular characters too,
Interesting.
which would be
Okay, okay.
cool.
Because I thought the 7 was for like the entire game, which I still would have loved
It
either
might
way.
be.
Yeah, but I say, I mean, I still would have loved to just traverse the map as Nightwing, because Nightwing and Batgirl, is one of those characters, and
Well,
I love
that's what I love
that.
about the original Lego Batman is that you only play as Batman and Robin for like I mean I know it's the villain missions, but you really
Yeah,
focus in on and you get all the suits and abilities, and that's what they're going back to. I like that. So they're gonna develop all these seven really well.
right. Yeah, no, for sure. So I am like, oh, dude, I'm so excited. Oh, wait, yo,
I'm
when the game releases, we gotta go through Lego Batman 1, 2, 3, and Lego DC Supervillains, and we gotta do
mm,
like a whole like summer of Lego because like those games aren't that long.
hmm.
You can
No, no,
literally
no.
beat them in like a week. Um,
Yeah,
so play about 2 hours a night, an hour a night, and you're probably,
there you
you're
go.
good. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm excited, man.
video games is our final media frontier on this pod, and so we are definitely going to venture into that.
Yes.
We're gonna make Jackson get into it too because it's
Wait,
awesome.
what?
I I'm so dude. I just like I feel like this is gonna be already a banner year for DC, and if this video game brings back the nostalgia like the Skywalker Saga did, while also I think the Skywalker Saga had some weak points, and I think this game is gonna improve on that. Like already, you talked about that Red Hood mission. One of
Hmm.
the weak points of Skywalker Saga is that the level design was kind of weak, and I think that this is based on that mission, they're improving. It just looks so
Hmm.
polished. The Arkham combat looks awesome. Like Batman doing chain combos and stuff.
Hmm.
I'm I think this is gonna be one of their best efforts. Easy. Based on
Yeah,
what I saw so far of gameplay and trailer.
they got to come back with a
It
bang.
blew me away.
They can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got to come back with a bang. And I'm gonna be honest. I think that we are in a DC renaissance. Like I genuinely believe that we are in a state and time where we are getting back to back, for DC and Marvel. Like legitimately, dude, for almost every release that DC has, Marvel has a release right up after it. Like for instance,
Yep.
after Superman, it was Fantastic Four, Eyes of Wakanda,
Yeah.
Peacemaker. Wonder Man and Marvel Zombies don't have anything, but like legitimately Daredevil Born Again season 2, Lanterns, Spider-Man, Supergirl, Avengers, Clayface, like it is all kind of back to back. So it's like I think we are as comic book fans, as people who just want to see good comic book media, like, I don't think that either of us want to see one succeed over the other or one fail. We just want good comic book stories. Even though like we might be more DC fans than Marvel fans, or more Marvel fans than DC fans, I still don't think we want to see either of them fail truly. So
Yeah.
so to think that, we're in that point now where we can get, Superman, which is a banger, and we can also get Fantastic Four, which to me is a banger, and to a lot of other people it's a banger. You know, seeing that back and forth throwing jabs, it is a moment in time that comic fans could only ever dream of. And I think if they keep up this momentum, they're not only gonna challenge each other for like making people question, like, okay, so DC is where I want to give my money and my time to, but man, Marvel got this banger release too, so now I don't know which one I like better. And we love those type of conversations in the comic community. So I mean, I think we're in a good spot.
I think the whole thing is getting extremely streamlined, and it's definitely venturing into quality over quantity, which was what it the other way around happened for a long time in these early 2020 years,
Hmm.
just from the buildup of MCU stuff and DC just shitting out DCEU movies at a crazy pace. I
Yeah.
think now they're like, hey, the bubble's bursting, as we've seen from the box office results this year. So they're like, how do we get people back on board? And we're gonna see that come to fruition. Or we've already seen it this year. We're gonna see it even more so in the coming years, and that's what I'm like. I love that, and I love all the different flavors that we're still getting, despite it being like more simplified. Like we're still getting Clayface and Lanterns, and it's all gonna feel different, and I like that a
Hmm.
lot. So DC,
Hmm.
you know, I've always, I never count them out. Even in my most frustrating WB years, I've always thought they've done cool stuff, and this game is just another sign of how excited I am for everything we're gonna cover next year.
Exactly. We are in a great spot, and oh my god, Lanterns is so close. Lanterns is
Yeah.
like legitimately my most anticipated project in the DCU period, and it will probably be my favorite. Um
Yep.
I am like getting chills just thinking about what we are about to see in that series, because it'll be the first series that is not James Gunn made. James Gunn only consulted. He didn't write, he didn't direct, he didn't do anything but consult
Yeah.
on the script and consult on like certain, powers and all that other stuff, certain story details.
Hmm.
So I am interested to see what this universe looks like not touched by James Gunn, because like our first three projects are all from James Gunn's mind, right? But the first entrance into that will be a sci-fi epic,
Yeah.
So and it just happens to be my favorite corner of the DC universe, the Green Lanterns. Oh, also, I did want to touch on something before we end, because we are now rolling into an hour and 20-minute territory here. We're now rolling
Yeah.
into movie length, but I did want to touch on one thing. I love how James Gunn said each sector of the DCU will kind of be its own saga. It's not one big saga. It's like the Superman saga with Superman, Supergirl, whatever other movie is coming out, and then another movie, right? I could totally
Yeah.
see them doing that for like every character, like a Green Lantern saga. Like you start with lanterns, you enter into a Green Lantern movie, you span off, or you could do that with Batman, and that entices me so much more than a phase one, a chapter two, and a chapter three. Like, just give me a Superman
Hmm.
through line story where it follows through those movies, and then he dips his toes into other lands and other
Yeah.
characters and stuff. So I'm excited, man. DC got it. DC got it for sure.
I love it, man. And we're gonna be there. So thank you everyone for listening. This was a long one, but I'm glad we covered everything that we got. We're gonna be doing some cool stuff next month, so we hope to see you there. Jalen, I think we killed it for our
We
second
did.
solo one. So
I had fun.
um yeah, see you guys next week. Bye.